This isn't the kind of like pain like I broke my foot type of pain. This is the kind of pain where you enter into a place that was once your home and you can't stop crying. I have reached the lowest valley of my life. I am drowning and I am just trying to grab anything, even if that anything is something that is bad. And this is clearly, I am purposely putting myself in harm's way. And I'm just like, Kat, you gotta do something so bold and you have to do something so intentional. If you take anything away from this episode, what I need you to know is that if you are finding yourself in a valley right now, I promise you there is something on the other side of it. Okay, Kat, so what did your valley look like? It's a journey worth traveling, your space for raw conversations and soulful insights around life's journey. Let's explore. Welcome to the podcast, A Journey Worth Traveling. My name is Catherine, storytelling and content creation. It is one of my truest of loves. And if this is your first time here, let me just give you a special warm welcome. And you know what? Don't you worry. You have not missed much because this is, in fact, the first episode. So you know what? Thank you for being one of the day ones. In day ones, let me just hop in this and tell you how incredibly full my heart is on today. And my heart is full because not only is this the first episode, and I am so incredibly excited to see what all this season has to extend to us, but not so long ago, your girl happened to be in another season that was not so great. It was the lowest valley of my life. And being on the other side of that, this podcast being one of the catalysts, one of the byproducts, and me getting on the other side of that, like, I am grateful. So originally I was like, you know what? Let's kick it with the crew. Let's tell them what they can expect from the podcast. But then I thought about it and I said, everybody may not be able to relate to starting a podcast, but you know what people can probably relate to, Kat? They can probably relate to pain. They can probably relate to being in a valley. So I said, let's start it off with that. And this isn't the kind of like pain like I broke my foot type of pain. This is the kind of pain where you enter into a place that was once your home and you can't stop crying. This is the kind of pain where you have lost two of the greatest women that you know and love. And you lost them unexpectedly. You lost them in one of the most inhumane ways. That kind of pain. If you take anything away from this episode, what I need you to know is that if you are finding yourself in a valley right now, I promise you there is something on the other side of it. You just have to get through it. And you get through it because your journey is absolutely, okay? It is absolutely worth traveling. And you owe it to yourself. You deserve it for yourself. Okay, Kat. So what did your valley look like? Okay. I'm going to take us back to 2020 where it all began. Now, I think for a lot of us, when we hear 2020, like, we get a little PTSD. I will say, though, 2020, it started off as a good year for your girl. It did. Like, this is one of the reasons why I don't bet. Because if you would have asked me, like, is 2020 going to be one of your best years? Yeah, I would have said yes. And I would have lost it all. For sure. But it did. Like, it really did start off as a good year. Interestingly enough, I was working on a docuseries and it was called A Journey Worth Traveling. And it was about people who have been through a lot of pain, but in that pain, they found purpose. People who had just been in some of the darkest spaces of their life, But they not only found the light, but then they chose to be the light. And let me just tell you, I was so incredibly inspired by these stories, and I was incredibly excited to be able to share and tell these stories. Here's what I didn't know, though. I did not know that my life was going to become very similar to theirs. And because I had their story to hold on to as inspiration, it turned from inspiration to a roadmap. And me getting out of this valley, it became this staff for me in order to help me get on the other side of my valley. So that was 2020. Like 2020 started off with me working on this docuseries, me incubating another docuseries. Contracts were going good. Like things were up. Things were up. Then March came. And when March came, that's when we found out about COVID. I think for a lot of us, that's like 2020 stopped being like one of the best years yet. It turned into something totally different. And so not too long after that, my aunt was rushed to the hospital. Now, because this was like still the beginning stages of COVID, I don't know if y'all remember, but families were not able to be in the hospitals with their loved ones. So she goes in the hospital and we are worried. We are worried. We are scared. But the doctors call us and they say, she doesn't have COVID. We're like, whew, thank God. And so we were able to breathe easily. So in this breath, let me tell you a little bit about my aunt. Do y'all have like that fun, cool aunt? That was my Aunt Lori. So my parents are divorced. My dad would have us every other weekend. And when he would tell us that we were going over to my Auntie Lori's house, like that just made our weekend. We would go to her house. It was always just like full of people because people just love being around this woman. We would be at her house and we would go to the refrigerator. We'd be like, Auntie, can we go into the refrigerator? And I know that may kind of sound like a weird question, but my dad, great man, but the man was strict. So we had to ask to go into the refrigerator. But she would get so mad at us for even asking to go into the refrigerator. What do you mean? Like you can have whatever you want out of that refrigerator. And she let us ride our bikes. We didn't have to have on wrist pads, arm pads, knee pads. Like she just let us be kids, and we just felt so free being around her. She was one of the first people to teach me what like non-judgmental love was, and she was also this strong Black woman. So when she went into the hospital, we were like, okay, Auntie is going to be okay. And because we found out that she didn't have COVID, we were like, okay, she's going to be okay. Several days later, we get another phone call. And that phone call was telling us that she, in fact, did have COVID. And because they had not treated her in time, this put a lot of stress on her body. And she ends up having a heart attack. And she was never able to recover from that heart attack. So in her darkest moments, in her lowest hours, and then in her final moments, she was alone. She was alone, and all this love that she had given to so many people over so many years, none of us were able to give that back to her. And I cannot tell you like how much of an indelible stain that leaves on your family's life, on your heart, because she deserved so much more. Now we understand the weight of COVID. We understand the coldness. We understand the brutality of it. I had a grandma that was 95 years old, and it was like, she is high risk, y'all. We are not. We can't go over there. This was so hard for us because this is a woman who we went over to her house religiously every single weekend. My grandmother, she helped raise us. We lived with her. And even like when we didn't live with her, like we still live with her. She was always over. We would be so excited to like walk in the house, go to our rooms when we knew she was over, because you know what? You know what that meant? That meant that the clothes were going to be folded. The room was going to be clean. She was the traditional big mama. 3 meals a day, Sunday dinners. Like she was just the GOAT. And she never left our side. And so not being able to see her was extremely difficult. It was so difficult that we were like, it got to a point we had to just talk to her through the window. We were like, we just got to hear your voice. And that's what we did. That's what we did. Restrictions, they started to let up. And I remember I was at dinner and I get a phone call from my sister. And now she's calling me back to back to back. Now, this is not unusual because my sister, like, she will call me 5 times just because it's Tuesday. But then my mom starts calling me. And my heart, it drops. It sinks because I know that this is not about to be good. And she tells me, your grandmother has transitioned. So I race to the house. I get to the house and she is in her bed. My grandmother never left our side, and I made a decision that I was not going to leave her side until they took her body out of that house. That was a luxury that I did not get with my aunt, and I am blessed to have had that with my grandmother. Back to back, I have now lost 2 of the greatest matriarchs of my life in the most inhumane way. The way they transitioned, the way that we had to mourn them, it wasn't normal. And it left me just in this devastating, this painful low. And then several months after that, I made another really difficult decision. And that was that my significant other, who I had been with for a really long time, that we were better off as friends. So now I knew that this was going to be a hard thing. But when I was going through it, it was so much more difficult. Because here it is, there's this threading process, right? Like I've been with this person for many years, like our lives are so threaded together. And now there is this unthreading process. And that unthreading process, it was hard. And so now in this compact amount of time, I have lost 3 meaningful relationships. Back to back to back. And so what do you do? What do you do? For me, what I did was I did not want to sit in that pain. I did not want to sit in that discomfort. So I chose to find a distraction. I chose to find a distraction. And that distraction was work. And because I loved my work and I felt like it was purposeful, I felt like, okay, well, this is a great distraction. But what I will tell you is that in not dealing with that, it came back. It came back later to bite me. So during this time, like I didn't want to sit in this pain so much so that I was like, at the time, I was going back and forth from Michigan to Chicago. Work was in Chicago. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to fully immerse myself. I'm going to just move to Chicago. And so what Chicago did for me is it became this safe place. It became this peace. It became like this blank canvas because the smell of that relationship, like it was not in Chicago. So Chicago was just like, it was a place that felt good. And so now I'm like into work and I am like purposefully distracted. Things feel like they are going good. And then we come out of production on one of our projects, and I had some time at that point. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna go down to Atlanta for a bit, finish up some work there, and I got family there. So, this should be good. This should be good. I get down to Atlanta. I'm there for a couple weeks. Trip is going well. Towards the end of this trip, I get to my car, and I get in the car, and I'm feeling this draft of air, and I'm like, where is this air coming from? And I turn around, and it's all this broken glass on the backseat floor. And it dawns on me, y'all, that in this backseat was my book bag. And in this book bag was my computer, my hard drive, my tax information. So, it's one thing. I don't know if has anything ever been stolen from y'all? It's one thing when something is stolen. And it's another thing though, when it's your personal information, because now you're having to file a police report. You're having to lock down credit, all kinds of stuff. And I'm just like, you know what? You know what it's time for? It's time to get back to Chicago. Let's go get back to our peace. Let's go get back to our safe place. So now I'm back in Chicago. A couple weeks go by, and I get a phone call. I get this phone call from somebody, and they tell me that they're not feeling well. And I'm not going to violate no HIPAA laws. So we gonna keep their name secret right now. But they tell me that they're not feeling well and they're going to go take a COVID test. So I said, okay. So they take a COVID test. They come back, and guess what? They positive for COVID. And then I go take a COVID test, and guess what? I am positive for COVID. I know what y'all thinking. Y'all thinking, sometime to be single, right? I am literally now having to thug this thing out by my lonesome. I am in the crib, but you know what? It was a blessing that, the symptoms got real, but I didn't have to go to the hospital because we now know the severity of COVID, right? By this point, I've had several members of my family that I have lost to COVID. And so just being able to thug it out in the house was a blessing in itself. Do the whole 2 weeks isolation. And we are about to bump up to the holidays. I'm about to go home to Michigan. And it's something about, after all this stuff happens, it's something about just wanting to be around family, wanting to get a hug from your mom. That's all I wanted. I was just like, Mom, I want to see you. So I'm going to be leaving from Chicago for over a month. So I'm packing up a lot of stuff, y'all. A lot of valuable stuff. The day that I am supposed to leave, a friend is in town. I got to finish up some work, so I ended up leaving later than I was supposed to. But I'm putting all this stuff in Dexter. Dexter is my car's name. Yes, I name my cars. I've been doing that since I was 16. Anyway, I digress. So I put all the stuff into Dexter. Now, it is probably about 7, 8 o'clock. So not too late. But my thought is, let's go get some gas now because we got about a 4-hour drive to Michigan. And there's a gas station that's literally a block down from me. So I pull up. Now, I don't know if y'all have ever had the privilege of being in Chicago on a December night, but let me just tell you, it is cold as, and it is windy as. So I'm get out my car. I'm just Calvin, just think of warm thoughts. I'm thinking of warm thoughts. As I'm pumping my gas, a man approaches me. And they carjacked me. And the carjacking isn't crazy because of all the things that you may typically think of. The carjacking is crazy because when they got in the car, I was still pumping gas, and they drive off in the car. They take the car, they take the pump, and they take me with them. And so I hit the ground, and when I finally realize what happens, I get up, and Dexter is still in sight, y'all. Dexter is still in sight, and so what do? I run after Dexter. Adrenaline's pumping, and I run after Dexter. I get to the rear door of Dexter, and I'm hanging on. They realize I'm hanging on. So now they drive faster, and they're swerving in and out, trying to get me off the car. And then I'm ejected from the car, and I hit the ground again. And then this man, he sees all this happening, and so he pulls up, and he says, "Do you want to go get them?" Do I want to go get them? What y'all think? No, right? You would think. But nope. I'm like, absolutely. So I get in the car with this perfect stranger, and we go after that car. We go after Dexter. And we lose Dexter. But my phone is in the car, and they have not realized that my phone is in the car. So eventually I am able to track down the location of my car, and I convinced some friends to do a stakeout. I do. So we go over to the south side of Chicago, and I don't know if y'all know nothing about Chicago, but it's them hundreds. We in them hundreds. We in them 100 blocks. We in the place you don't really want to be doing a stakeout. But we doing a stakeout. And so we're we probably should go ahead and call the police. So we call the police. Police come. And I'm talking to the officer. And y'all aren't going to believe this. As I am talking to the officer, guess who comes down the street? It's Dexter. And I'm like, there goes Dexter. There goes Dexter. So the police hop in their cars, and they go after Dexter. Dexter too fast from y'all, so they lose Dexter. The problem is I now know where my car is. So I don't let up on this thing. Because you know what? All these things have been taken from me. My grandmother, my aunt. So many things that I could not control. And now this was taken from me. And I felt like, you know what? This is the thing I can control. This is the thing that I could take back. And I was so committed to that. So I would go over there over the next several days. Let me just say, even when I was trying not to go over there, because the gas station, I would go to my window at my condo, and I would look out the window, and I would see the gas station, and I was triggered. I was reminded of what was taken from me. It was just reminder after reminder after reminder. So for the next several days, I would go over there, and I would stake out in this hope, I guess, to get, something back, to take some kind of control. That they didn't just get this one up on me, I guess. I went over there so much that they recognized me, and words were exchanged. I don't know if you've ever just been violated. And now, in you being violated, you're just trying to get some kind of control. And the crazy thing is, in me trying to get control, now I am completely out of control. I am pursuing all these things that are not serving me, but I have reached the lowest valley of my life. I am drowning, and I am just trying to grab anything and anything, even if that anything is something that is bad. And this is clearly, I am purposely putting myself in harm's way. And I'm just like, Kat, you gotta do something. You gotta do something different. Like, you have to do something so bold, and you have to do something so intentional. And you know what? I'm so thankful to have like those other stories of people who had turned pain into purpose. That started becoming this roadmap for me, reminding myself that my journey is absolutely worth traveling, that there is something on the other side of the valley. Kat, you just got to get there. So how are we going to get there? Well, I say, okay, yeah, that's a great question. How are we going to get there? One of the things I know I love, your girl loves travel. I love traveling. And, you know, ever since I was in high school, college, I've wanted to do this Eat, Pray, Love. But life never presented the opportunity. And now it has. So I said, this is the perfect time to be able to fill my cup up with this adventure. Because here's the thing, like, Chicago was once this safe place for me. It was this place where I felt so much peace. That had been taken away from me. And then, like, if I went down to Atlanta, that was a reminder of what was taken from me. If I went back to Michigan, like, there was so many memories and so many things that were taken away from me there. So it's like, you know what? One of my homegirls recently told me, and this is my story, sometimes you cannot heal where you were once broken at. And that's me. I could not heal the way I needed to in Chicago or any of these other places. Like, I had to get the United States, y'all, was doing me dirty. So I needed to get far away from the US of A as possible. I needed to be intentional about filling up my cup. You know what my therapist would say right now? She was like, but Kat, what you filling it up with? What was interesting, somebody said to me, they said, are you running away from something? And it wasn't that I was running away from something. I was running towards something. I felt like this was this opportunity not only for me to see new things, this was also an opportunity for me to become a better version of myself. And so that's what I looked at this as. Like, not only was I going to fill up my cup with God discovery, people discovery, and self-discovery, but it was also this opportunity to remove some things that weren't serving me. It was an opportunity for this distillation, this filtration process. It was this opportunity for this metamorphosis process. And I let it be all that because I needed all of that. And so I decided to go abroad for 5 months on what I now call my LCA, my life-changing adventure, because it was all of that. It was something that not only saved my life, but it absolutely changed my life. And it wasn't because everything was bliss, because let me tell you, it was not. Like, got real in the field over there, but it was absolutely a journey that was worth traveling. And if I can, real quick, because I was extremely intentional about this. Like, I was very intentional about the fact that my cup was empty and I knew I needed to fill it up with some good stuff. And so I set these intentions. And if I can read you a little excerpt out of my journal. It says, for I know the plans I have for you. Yes, he do. We may not know, but he does. It kicks it off. Dear Father, things still feel very surreal for me. This adventure that you have me embarking on here, it's happening. And I couldn't be more grateful, more excited, because y'all know it was needed, more ready to experience everything you have for me in these next several months. I look forward to seeking you more. I look forward to the new songs, the gifts, the exchanges, the experiences, the memories, the people, the blessings, the stretching, the growing, the pruning. I look forward to the wanting and the getting something out of me and out of me. I look forward to the refining, to the defining. I look forward to the discovery, the exploration, the adventure. I look forward to the immense enhancement of peace, power, and prosperity. I look forward to immersing myself in you, the culture, and the wonders that you have created. I look forward to being a blessing. I look forward to being a vessel, to being a light. I look forward to learning and being educated on a variety of things, on the vastness of things. I look forward to using all of my senses that you gave me to experience all the beauty you've created. I look forward to seeing. I look forward to touching. I look forward to smelling. I look forward to feeling. I look forward to crying. I look forward to happiness. I look forward to joy. I look forward to the seeds that will be planted, the maturation process, the distillation process. I look forward to this so being a journey that is worth traveling. And I just want to say real quick, like, y'all, setting your intentions are so important. And it can go both ways. When you set your intention in the right way, like, God will make sure the universe conspires with you on that. And again, I didn't know what was going to be on the other side of this trip, but it was everything for me. And over the life of this podcast, over the next several episodes, I so look forward to taking you on this LCA. We are going to Thailand. We are going to India. We are going to Africa, because those are the places that I went to. So 5 months later, we are back stateside. We are back stateside. We had this amazing LCA. And now I am telling people about it, like my closest friends and family. And they were like, okay, Kat, so this is so great. What are you going to do with this? And I'm like, what do you mean? What am I going to do with this? Yes, I filled up my cup. I am so grateful. I am so happy. They're like, no, but what are you going to do with this story? And I was like, well, you know what? I shared it with you. But the feedback that I kept getting about what you're going to do with this story. And so then I started thinking, okay, so what? Because at this point, y'all, like, when I tell you this trip was for me, it was for me. I didn't blog. I didn't do no social media. Like, this literally was for me. And so now I am thinking about, okay, so what are you going to do with it? Let me just say, podcasting was probably last on your girl's list, because I know to sit in this seat, you got to be open, you got to be vulnerable, you got to be transparent. And one thing about me, I am extremely, extremely private. So I was like, you know what? That's probably not. I don't know. God had to have a little moment with your girl. And he was like, you remember those stories that help to act as a roadmap for you, that help to guide you, that were a staff for you? If your story can be that for somebody else, isn't that the sandbox you want to play in? Because my heart posture has always been being able to produce content that fuels, and doing that through story. And it was like, if that can be your story, don't you feel like that's where you should be? That's what you should be doing. And it was like, you know what? Yep. So now we are here. And there are 4 things that really helped me to get on the other side of the valley, to really be able to heal. Travel, story, fuel, and support. And I truly look forward to bringing all of those elements to this podcast. Traveling. So every single episode, we are dedicated to taking y'all somewhere. All right, Kat, where do we go? Well, we go all around life, discussing any and everything that has to do with the human experience. So we are taking you on these metaphoric trips. We are going to the island of self-discovery. We are crossing the bridge of trauma. We are climbing the mountain of enduring. We're going to the galaxy of manifestation, just to name a few. But these are all elements that we deal with on our journey: enduring, manifestation, self-discovery. And so we are taking those trips. And then we're taking some real trips too. Like, I'm taking you to India. I'm taking you to Thailand. I'm taking you to Africa. I just came back from Cuba. We're going to Cuba. So it is going to be an amazing adventure. And we're doing this all through story. Story has been one of my greatest sorters. The stories that I was originally telling, like, it started off just as inspiration, but then it became a roadmap for me. And I don't necessarily know where you're at in your life. Baby, right now, these stories will just serve as inspiration. But baby, 2 years from now, us climbing the mountain of enduring and you hearing somebody else talk about their experience, their relationship with enduring, how they had to endure in their marriage, it now becomes this roadmap for you. So because we are traveling places, like, I don't even want you to think of me as your host. I actually want you to think of me as your tour guide. And these guests that come on the show, they are also tour guides, guiding you through each and every episode. Fuel. That's what you can get from every episode. There are going to be so many souvenirs that you can collect along the way and take on your own personal journey. Support. Support was one of my greatest sorters. Whether it was family, whether it was complete strangers at the time, experiences, my therapist, you need support for the journey. You think about a tree, like, in order for a tree to reach its maximum potential, it has to be rooted. It has to be grounded in something. You think about a building, it has to have this firm foundation. Otherwise, it will collapse. We are no different. We need the support. And so that is why this community, this crew, I will be referring to us as the J Crew. It stands for the Journey Crew. So when you fuel up with this podcast, you can expect some good travel. You can expect some good story. You can expect some good fuel. You can expect some great support. So listen, J Crew, I hope y'all got y'all passports ready, because that is right. We are going places. So listen, I hope that you are here for it, because I am so incredibly excited about the places that we will go. I'm so excited about taking this journey with you. Oh, and let me say right now, right quick, if you have not subscribed, please do so that you don't miss any of these trips with us. But before I end this one, I just want to, I gotta drill it. I gotta drill it down. I want you to use this as your mantra. I want you to use this as your philosophy. I need you to use this as your lifestyle. Your journey is worth traveling. But how are you traveling? I need you to know that you are worth the premium fuel. You are worth the first class, because you are first class. And I don't mean like that material stuff. I'm talking about your intrinsic value. Your intrinsic value. Fill your cup up. Prioritize filling it up with good stuff. Prioritize your purpose. Prioritize your light. I'm looking forward to it, J Crew. I'm looking forward to traveling with you. I'm looking forward to all the trips that we will take. Until our next one, peace and blessings.